So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute, man. Listen, I had a whole Australian accent that I tried to practice. Yeah, it went horrible. Horrible. I mean, there's no other way to put it to you, but it stunk. It was bad. It was horrible. So I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? I don't want nobody to feel disrespected with that type of accent. I tried to practice. It was bad. But anyway, man, we're headed to Australia to see what they discovered that shocked the world, right? What I know in Australia to be able to take you off of this planet in a million different ways. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's always in my mind when I hear Australia. It's like kind of like the Amazon. Yeah, yeah, you can't play around. You know what I mean? It's not the crime or anything like that. If you actually look up the information on Australia, the crime is low. It's the animals that'll get you up out of here. Right fast, as my grandma would say, right fast and in a hurry. All right? So we're going to check this video out. If you're new to the channel, man, hit the subscribe button, join the fam, and let's get to it.
Australia is the 6th largest country in the world, almost as big as mainland USA, and it's the only continent without an active volcano. It really doesn't need one because scientists also believe that the oldest evidence of life on Earth exists in this magical place famously known as Down Under. But that's not all there is to say about this epic continent, especially after you see what's turned up there recently. There's more than kangaroos and koalas here. Take it from us. 15 of the strangest things.
Every time I think about the kangaroo, I think about that kangaroo fighting video against that man and that dog.
Recently discovered in Australia. Mariman. This huge geoglyph in South Australia has puzzled scientists for decades. The new NASA image was shot by the space agency's operational land imager satellite, and it's confusing us too. Cut into the harsh landscape with lines over 115 feet wide and 1 foot deep, the towering Mariman is easily visible from space. And can you believe the landmark was only discovered in 1998 by a pilot flying over the outback? It's true. Not a single witness got to see the creation of the Mariman. Somehow, a person or group of people were able to create a 2.6-mile long line drawing of an Aboriginal hunter without being seen, which speaks to the absolute isolation of this part of Australia. His routine measures 17 miles around the full perimeter, which makes the Mariman the largest geoglyph and work of art in the world. However, there have been several rumors about its mysterious creation. Some people claim the artwork was simply a publicity stunt, while others believe the image is either a message to aliens or was built by them. And although NASA
or a chalk outline, it's like people was that big back then. Could be, maybe. We don't know. Who knows? We don't know. That's like trying to figure out how this thing got here.
Has revealed these pictures of the incredible work of art, they too have failed to solve the mystery of the Mariman. Although we may never know the true origin of the Mariman, it's certainly one of the most intriguing modern-day mysteries. Fasten your seatbelts, because it's time for today's sweet topic. It's not uncommon for scuba divers to have the opportunity to explore a sunken ship or even ancient ruins, but this dive is something else. This deep diver has come across what appears to be the remnants of some space exploration, the firing chambers of a space shuttle. It's not typically the kind of thing you see when swimming in Australian waters, but not completely unheard of either. NASA's Skylab, an orbiting workshop.
I never really thought about where they land at. I thought they land somewhere they go recover it, not just let it stay where it landed.
For research or scientific space matters fell to Earth in 1979, and it famously rained debris all over Australia. The vehicle, 9 stories tall and weighing almost 80 tons, slipped into the Earth's upper atmosphere in pieces. Somewhere at sea, 10 fragments, each weighing 1,000 pounds or more, crashed into our atmosphere with the force of a dying meteor. Is this the last remaining chunk of the NASA spaceship? Or is it something else? And should we leave it in the ocean for nature to overtake, or maybe haul it up to a place in a museum somewhere? It'd be interesting to see underwater and on land. Don't you agree? Use the hashtag #SweetTopic with your comments below and tell us what you think.
They always want to get on to us about littering. Don't be littering in the water. What was that, NASA? I'm just saying, what was that? Somebody explain that. What's the fine on that?
Ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Did you know that Australia has some serious connections to ancient Egypt? That's what they say. Referred to as the Gosford glyphs, these intricate set of symbols is believed to have been carved some 5,000 years ago by ancient Egyptians who visited down under. According to numerous sources, the ancient Egyptian civilization was extremely well developed. They did construct powerful transoceanic ships, which may have taken them not only to the American continent, but Australia as well. However, considered a hoax by many and ultimate evidence of ancient Egyptian transoceanic voyages by others, this curious set of symbols has produced mixed reviews from researchers around the globe. Did advanced ancient civilizations, like the ancient Egyptian civilizations, manage to travel by ship to other continents? It sure looks like it, and while many scholars are convinced these supposed hieroglyphs are nothing more than a modern-day forgery, an archaeological joke, there are those who not only believe they're the real deal, left behind by ancient Egyptian explorers more than 5,000 years ago, they're found in an area known for its aboriginal petroglyphs within the Brisbane Water National Park. Castle in the Jungle. Nestled in the heart of tropical North Queensland is a timeless escape for the whole family and an opportunity to peer into the heart and soul of a pure romantic visionary, Jose Paranilla. This castle in the jungle was the dream of an ambitious Spanish immigrant who sailed to Australia in 1913 to make a life for himself and his fiancée waiting back home. He worked for over a decade, worlds away from his homeland, first as a laborer cutting sugarcane and then slowly building his wealth, buying, improving, and selling cane farms. After 11 years away making his fortune, in 1924, he returned to Spain to claim his bride, only to find that Matilda had married another. So he married her adventurous younger sister, and in 1925, he happily sailed back with her to Australia on a honeymoon voyage.
Ladies, that's how y'all was letting it go down back in 1925? I just know the ladies today is way different from the ladies back then. I might have to talk to Queen about that one. Hell, if I show up with a black eye tomorrow, y'all know I tried it.
In 1929, he discovered this undeveloped forest land alongside a waterfall and knew he and his bride would one day call it their home. They spent the next 10 years building it with their bare hands, and the Paranellas wanted to share their dream castle with the public. It was the perfect family day out and the ideal location for weddings and social gatherings of the day, and that legacy still continues to this day. Pyramid in the Ocean. Discovered in 1788 by Royal Naval Lieutenant Henry Ball, hence the name, Ball's Pyramid juts almost 2,000 feet out of the Pacific Ocean. The pyramid in the ocean measures about 3,600 feet.
That's dope. But please keep this. I be telling them, yo, please keep me a distance away from that. I just keep thinking about that Brazil rock that fell. Remember not too long ago? And people were in the boat? Yeah. I would love to see up close, but not too close. Keep a distance. I don't need nothing falling.
In length and 980 feet across that makes it the tallest volcano stack in the world. It's one of the surviving above-ground remnants of the once lost and recently found sunken continent of Zealandia, and it's the remnants of a massive volcano. It's located off the southeast shores of Lord Howe Island, over 400 miles northeast of Sydney. Ball's Pyramid is one of many sea stacks offshore, the eroded remains of what once were much larger volcanoes that formed about 7 million years ago. It maybe looks like a place where nothing could survive, but it isn't devoid of life. It's home to the rarest insect in the world, the Lord Howe stick insect, famous for being big as a human hand. However, it's not been seen alive in over 70 years. The 6-inch-long insects were once common on the neighboring Lord Howe Island, but were assumed to have been eaten into extinction by rats. It's the heaviest flightless stick insect in the world. Somehow, a few of the wingless insects escaped and managed, by means still unknown, to traverse over 14 miles of open ocean to thrive on this pyramid in the ocean. Earth's pavement. This is tessellated pavement, and it's named due to its tessellated or tiled-like appearance of the rocks along the water. Not only is the unusual stone formations a spectacular sight and photographer's dream, but it's also a unique geological phenomenon. The rock that comprises this place is mostly silestone that formed about 300 million years ago by sediments that accumulated on a relatively low-lying area. The sediments eventually got compacted. Local stresses at the Earth's surface then caused the stone to crack and fracture in certain directions. This is called jointing. The way they crisscross each other is what creates the tiled-like appearance. But wait, The story doesn't end there. Time and water also played a role in creating this site. The rocks are currently on an intertidal seaward platform, and thus years and years of erosion have exaggerated the tiled appearance. The constant action of the salt water splashing over and partly covering the rocks with changing tides has led to the accumulation and percolation of salt water on the rocks. It's quite a sight to behold. Sometimes it's hard to believe certain rock formations are natural, and this is definitely the case here.
Like if you step in one of those though, fam, you may go straight through it. Didn't it look like that to y'all? Like look back right here. Who's to say it didn't erode all the way through? So be careful if you're going out there to, you know what I mean, sightsee or whatever. And even in at the edge of let me see if I can go back and show you. At the edge it even looked like, remember where we at, 753. Where's that? Where's that shot at? I can't really see it. Either way, like as soon as you step off into the water, it looks like underwater. It's like a cliff, it looked like almost down in there. Dang, I wish I could see it, but I couldn't find it. Anyway.
Formations are natural, and this is definitely the case here. Horizontal waterfalls. Sir David Attenborough has called it Australia's most unusual natural wonder.
Look at that area view. Like something so deadly can be just amazing and breathtaking at the same time. You know what I mean? Look at that, fam. Look at that.
And 15 years ago noted that few people in the world had seen it. On the Kimberley coastline, this tide is turning in all sorts of cool ways. Known as the horizontal waterfalls, this ocean phenomenon is the result of one of the world's highest tidal shifts compressing two narrow breaks in the Kimberley coastline. It's as though somebody has pulled the plug on the ocean. Millions of gallons of ocean suck through a narrow sea gorge, the water brawling and churning as it goes. During the highest tides, as much as 1 million gallons of water pours through the gaps every second. In addition to being horizontal, the falls are also reversible. Each day, when the tide turns, the falls flow in the opposite direction. And that's why this is the most dangerous current in Australia. The seaward gap is about 70 feet in width, while the landward one is about 30. The natural phenomenon is created as seawater builds up faster on one side of the gaps than the other, creating a waterfall up to 13 feet. Those who want to experience the horizontal falls will find cruise itineraries and local tour operators that will take them to this natural wonder. Just don't try.
Did you see the way that boat would just sway and trying to get up that? Nah, bro. Nah, man. I gotta see that one more time, bro.
Up to 13 feet. Those who want to experience the horizontal falls will find
nah, we good.
Cruise itineraries and local tour operators that will take them to this natural wonder. Just don't try to swim there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, could you imagine flipping over and how fast that water's rapidly moving?
Shell Beach. This beautiful snow white beach is made up of billions of tiny shells up to 25 feet deep and stretches for over 50 miles.
Don't walk barefoot.
There's no sand, only shells. Crazy, right? How does that happen? This beach is one of only a handful of places on Earth where shells replace beach sand. A walk on Shell Beach is like no other. Incredibly, the beach is made up of shells from the Shark Bay cockle. If you don't know what that is, then you're not alone. It's a marine bivalve mollusk found in the shallow seas of the coast of Western Australia. On a still day, the ocean at Shell Beach transforms into a palette of the most intense greens and blues, and the water is very salty, making it easy to float for those who aren't strong swimmers. Similar to the Dead Sea in Jordan. This is known as hypersalinity and is favorable to the survival of some marine animals, like, say, cockles, and is unfavorable to the animals that eat them. That's why there are so many cockle shells here. The volume of shell matter produced here is so great that it becomes compressed into a special form of limestone. In fact, in the early 1900s, the shells were quarried, cut into blocks, and used to construct a number of historic buildings. Wave rock. In Australia, the ocean is not the only place where you can catch a wave. Just over a mile east of the unassuming town of Hayden, in Australia's golden outback, is a spectacular wave that never breaks. And lucky for us, it's completely frozen in time. Geologists have dated the rock as 2.63 billion years old, long before dinosaurs roamed the Earth. It began forming during the Cretaceous period over 100 million years ago when Australia broke away from Antarctica. It hardly seems real. The wave rock looks as though it's actually petrified water made of millennia of layered stone. It stands 50 feet high and over 300 feet.
Me and that dude related right there, because that's the same thing I'd be doing. Getting up there trying to see how far I can run up just to slide right back down. Yep, I'm so disrespectful. I know. You can't take me nowhere, I'm telling y'all. I'll be seeing y'all in the comments like, yo, L, we could be cool, bro. Just know what you're getting, all right? Just know what you're getting.
Feet long. Geologists call it a flared slope, which forms at the base of an isolated rock hill or mountain that juts from a plain. There are several other examples of flared slopes like this throughout Australia, though none like Wave Rock. Besides being a tourist hotspot with over 100,000 visitors per year, this place has been a sacred site for the local indigenous people for thousands of years. Local tribes believe that Wave Rock was a creation of the mystical rainbow serpent, created in her wake by dragging her serpent body over the land after consuming all of the water. So Wave Rock is an icon of cultural learning, indigenous history, plus it looks like a lot of fun to visit. Cooper the dinosaur. Researchers have confirmed the discovery of Australia's largest dinosaur species ever found. It was about 80 to 100 feet long, 16 to 21 feet tall at its hip when it existed, and weighed somewhere between 25 and 81 tons. For comparison, the Tyrannosaurus rex was about 40 feet long and 12 feet tall. That's quite a difference. It's part of a lineage of dinosaurs called Titanosaurians, which have been found on most continents. New species of a type of dinosaur called sauropods, which had long necks and tails, as well as 4 legs and 8 plates. The researchers say the new species is closely related to 3 other sauropods found in Australia that date to the same time period. The fossilized bones of this new titanosaur were found on a family farm in 2006, about 620 miles west of Brisbane, and nicknamed Cooper. Paleontologists involved in the discovery say it's among the top 15 largest dinosaurs ever found and ranks in similar size to giants found in South America. Their research relied on 3D scan models of bones to compare the dinosaur with its close relatives. Numerous other dinosaur skeletons have been found in the same area. Gnomesville. Check out this group of garden gnomes gathered in the bush of rural Western Australia. Welcome to Gnomesville. It's one of those things that have to be seen to be believed. It's located just over 2 hours drive south of Perth in the glorious green Ferguson Valley, and it has mad Perthanality. Oh, that's a bad Aussie joke, but we're talking about gnomes. The small, lovable additions to the garden are often seen as a joke. However, there's something mysterious surrounding these small garden ornaments, and Gnomesville is...
Bro, that would be so trippy just to, you know what, I'm gonna just leave it right there. No, that would be, what? What? Come down, no. You're like, yo, that gnome, I swear that gnome just moved. I swear that gnome is following me. Ain't that the same gnome? No, that's the same one. That's a different one. You sure? Yo, I'd be tripped out here.
Is one of those places that everyone who knows about it is curious to explore. Gnomes are extremely magical creatures, and often you'll see a glint in their eye representing their mischievous character. The history surrounding garden gnomes has them portrayed as mystical fairy tale creatures which comes to life at night to help in the garden. Many gardeners feel that gnomes bring good luck to their crops. There are remarkably few people who know exactly how
I'm not being out there at night. I don't care how mystical of a creature it is and what it could possibly do. You imagine being there at nighttime? No. We'll end up on one of these scary videos we're gonna watch later.
Gnomesville appeared. However, there are several different stories. Some people believe that a random gnome appeared, and other people placed their gnomes so the original one would not be lonely. World's longest fence. If you've ever heard the famous words, "Dingo ate my baby," then you'll appreciate this, because Australia was being overrun by dingoes back in the day. If you don't know what that is, here you go. The dingo is an ancient lineage of wild dogs, and they became a problem. It's believed that travelers from abroad left the once domesticated wild dog in Australia over 4,000 years ago. Left to their own devices, these dogs thrived by falling back on the wolfish instincts of their ancestors. Just ask the millions of sheep that these wild animals were eating. So, in a bid to take control of their livestock and protect their flocks, farmers and lawn makers created Australia's Great Dingo Fence. It's the longest fence in the world, spanning 3,488 miles and surrounded by a 15-foot clearance zone on either side. Originally constructed back in the 1880s, the fence was meant to block dingoes from making a...
Yeah, if it's that long, you had to go that great lengths to do that, then yeah, they're a problem. You know what I mean? You hear about things getting out of control, but when you gotta build that long of a fence, I believe y'all. Y'all got a dingo problem. Just saying that. I just wanted to say that. Use that in the sentence anyway. Dingo.
A buffet of all of Australia's sheep. It continues unbroken through thousands of miles, and it worked. The 6-foot-tall barrier successfully deterred the sheep-eating wild dogs that killed millions of livestock. Although the fence has helped reduce losses of sheep to predators, where dingoes are removed, increasing populations of grazing animals on either side of the fence can lead to overgrazing. Forest in a shipwreck. Once a center of industry, this bay was unfortunately contaminated with toxic waste and is now a commercial and residential suburb of Sydney. However, the bay's past as a successful trading port still lingers on in the form of 4 abandoned freighters slowly rusting in the waters. And one thing led to another, and the value of scrap metal plummeted, and the wrecking yards went out of business. Once used to transport coal, oil, and war supplies, the ships were eventually decommissioned and simply left where they floated. And it was 1972. After 60 years of faithful service, this vessel was left to float here, having been built in Scotland and sailed to Australia, then used as a transport supply boat in World War II, then retired to run coal for the rest of its working life. However, this cargo ship was destined for the scrap heap. Now look at it. While it just sat there, mangrove trees began to grow from the middle of it. The branches of the thriving trees spill from the sides of the ship, slowly breaking down the hull of the long-lived ship, which was originally built in 1911. And that's where we find ourselves today. There's a shipwreck in Sydney Harbor. In fact, there are several. A group of at least 7 rusted hulks still rest in plain sight in one of the world's most beautiful waterways. Tunnel of Glowworms. A wondrous family-friendly stroll through a tunnel covered in glistening glowworms awaits all of us who yearn for adventure here in Australia. On second thought, fireflies light up this dark and muggy old railway tunnel in Wollemi National Park, west of Sydney. In order to reach the ethereal blue-green display, explorers must first traverse a slightly bumpy path by car and walk down abandoned railway tracks past lush forests, narrow gorges, and mystical rock formations. But so worth it. The tunnel was originally built as part of a railway in the early 1900s, but was dismantled in 1940, allowing the damp walls to be blanketed by thousands of sparkling glowworms. And visitors to the cave described it as stunning. Fireflies are soft-bodied beetles that are commonly called fireflies, glowworms, or lightning bugs for their conspicuous use of bioluminescence during twilight to attract mates or prey. Fireflies produce a cold light with no infrared or ultraviolet frequencies. From the lower abdomen may be yellow, green, or pale red. Pretty cool, right? As the fireflies are sensitive to noise and light, guests to the tunnel must first turn off their torches and stay quiet before the sprite-like gems will twinkle blue and green. Underground mining town. Coober Pedy is an Australian town where half of its inhabitants live underground. This unusual place is at the center of Australia's opal mining industry. An estimated 70% of the world's opal production can be linked back to the town, earning it the title of Opal Capital of the World. In fact, the majority of Coober's residents work in the opal industry. Now, the town is becoming a leader in sustainable living despite being one of the hottest, dustiest, and driest places in all of Australia. Welcome! What began in 1916 as a mining operation in the world has since expanded into this unreal subterranean community. Entire bedrooms, bookstores, churches, and bars are installed in the carved underground walls. And as you can see, nothing about this underground mining town is for the faint of heart. For starters, it's hot. It's the summer temperatures that can creep up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade. Despite this, over the years, Coober Pedy's residents have become extremely adept at life here, creating customized subterranean houses that go beyond just 1 or 2 rooms. It's located in South Australia, over 1,000 miles from Canberra, the country's capital city. And after 100 years of living in these dugouts, the folks who call it home have no plans of leaving.
Wow.
Devil's Marbles. These rocks are an internationally recognized symbol of Australia's outback and are particularly impressive in the morning and evening light when their red colors are highlighted in the sun.
Why you gotta call it Devil's Marbles, though? Other than the red, maybe that, but I don't want to go around that and says Devil's Marbles.
Particularly impressive in the morning and evening light when their red colors are highlighted in the sun. However, it's much more extensive and spiritually significant than portrayed on most postcards. The entire area is of great spiritual significance to many people here. Known as Karlu Karlu by Aboriginals, many creation stories of this area take place near the Devil's Marbles. Some people believe that the giant rocks are the fossilized eggs of the mythical rainbow serpent. Beyond their significance, the Devil's Marbles conservation area is much larger than most give it credit.
It's always fascinating to me to see how these rocks just sit up here like this. That's always fascinating to me.
The Devil's Marbles conservation area is much larger than most give it credit. The park actually spans 4,500 acres and houses hundreds of rounded rocks. Some of the rocks are over 20 feet in diameter, while others are smaller than 1 foot. Over millions of years, erosion of sandstone and exposure to the elements caused these granite rocks to take rounded edges, making the many fields full of marbles we see today. And of course, it's one of Australia's most popular tourist destinations. It's a great place with amazing facilities to stop for a night and set up camp. Make sure to get some good pics and videos while you're here. Hopefully, you learned a lot.
So, it's a spiritual place and dope. Looks like it's peaceful. Looks like they just needed a different name. You know what I mean? I'm all for the Zen life. Zen Life L is probably going to be my slogan for 2023. You know what I mean? I'm with that. Just change the name, the Devil's Marbles. I just can't get Zen in an area like that. You know what I mean? But definitely shout outs to Australia, man. Y'all, if you've ever been, let us know in the comment section, what were your experiences out there? Have y'all seen that long fence to keep the dingoes out? Get at me and let me know, all right? What they discovered in Australia shocked the world. I agree. It's your boy L, man. Until the next one, I'm gone. Peace.